Hey guys, it's Luke here on Sean's channel. Today I have 3 of the new Beware of Traptrix Structure decks. So I figured that we'd open them up, we'll have a look at all the cards that come inside, and then we might put 3 together and see what kind of deck we can build. A lot of good reprints in this, and a lot of cool new support for Traptrix. Traptrix is actually a very easy enough deck to get your kind of grasp on. So I think it'll be a good deck for like beginners of Yu-Gi-Oh and stuff like that. If you want to start getting into the game now, this will be a good deck to pick up. Okay, to start us off with the ultras, we got Traptrix Pudica, Traptrix Garden, Trap Tantalizing Tune. Our first XZs, we have Traptrix Pingusula and Traptrix Aptophus. Okay, then we have the supers, Traptrix Arakoncampa, and yes, we got Evenly Matched, a great reprint for this. Honestly, probably the selling point of the whole deck. Then we have Traptrix Holutia. This is probably like the main reason people pick this deck up, because this card is very fucking good. It's a trap that you can activate the turn you set it if you discard a card, which is pretty good. And then we're into all the commons. Let's see, we got Traptrix Atarax, Miramello, of course, iconic Traptrix card, Traptrix Nepenthes, Dino Ea, Genlesia, Vesculo. We got a Kaiju here, Kadaria, the Mystery Dust Kaiju, and we got the Sicky String Kaiju. And we got Retaliating Sea because TCG don't want us to have a maxi, thank God. Resonance Insect, Lone Flower Blossoms, pretty good. All those plant deck players out there. Ash Blossom, of course, just getting reprinted to shit now, but it's always good to see. Great hand trap. Rose Lover, pretty cool. Sage Souffleur. You have Mech Knight Purple Nightfall. That's pretty cool. I think Mech Knight's kind of seen their heyday now, so it's no problem having these reprinted. Then we also have Mech Knight Blue Sky, Artifact Mortaluk, Fire Hand and Ice Hand. Yeah, good during hat format, but these are pieces of shit now, basically. Oh, and even Truest Thunder Hand, like it matters. Okay, Raigeki's a cool one to get. Harpy's Feather Duster, cool to see this in the common now, so everyone can just get their hands on it and just use it. Let's see what we got. We got Terrifying Trap Hole Nightmare. Got the OG Trap Hole for all you Duel Monsters fans out there. Got Bottomless Trap Hole, great card. Oh, they gave us 2 Bottomless Trap Holes, it's pretty cool. Void Trap Hole, Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare, Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare again, Floodgate Trap Hole, Gravedigger's Trap Hole. I pulled this when this was a secret rare in Rise of the Duelist. Made very nice money off of that, so it's cool to see this be reprinted to shit now. That's no longer my problem. Traptrix, Shade Brigadine's good, just especially summon a sort of monster. Artifact Sanctum, that will be using that. And the Naturia Sega Tree is pretty funny actually. So all the Naturia cards are pretty easy to get now. So this is a mainstay staple for Naturia decks, so good to see it reprinted again. Traptrix Rafflesia, Traptrix Almarus, Traptrix Caleria, Traptrix Sera, which she was new in Magnificent Mavens, I'm pretty sure. And then we got Traptrix Mantis, and then here's just the extra like promo-y sort of stuff. Alright, so using the 3 structure decks, we managed to get a main deck, an extra deck, and a side deck. So let's just go through it all, and then we'll see how this deck pans out. We run 3 copies of Traptrix Miramello. It's a fairly standard for every build. Miramello is a great searcher. We run 3 copies of Dynea, 3 copies of Mantis, 3 copies of Traptrix Arakoncampa. This is very good. She can special summon herself out as a quick effect if you control a Traptrix monster. Then each time, the first time a set spell or trap is destroyed, it is not destroyed. Rounding off the Traptrix monsters, we run 3 copies of Pudica. Rounding off for all the monsters, 3 copies of Ash Blossom, just because it's a very good universal hand trap. When you run 3 spells in all of this, we have 1 copy of Harpy's Feather Duster, just to remove all spell and traps, and 1 copy of Raigeki just to get a board wipe in the deck. Also 1 copy of Traptrix Garden. This is the field spell. During your main phase you can normal summon 1 Traptrix monster in addition to your normal summons set. Also similarly to Akno Kampa, the first time an insect or a plant monster you control be destroyed, it is not destroyed. Also as a third effect, you can banish 1 monster you control and then special summon 1 Traptrix monster from your hand or graveyard. Don't use this effect of Traptrix Garden once per turn. Now we're going into the traps now, and of course there's a fucking load of them. 3 copies of Traptrix Haluta. This is pretty much a Shade Brigadine that you can set this card, then you can discard a card to special summon it as a monster. And the turn that you set it, you can activate the effect of it by discarding a card. 3 copies of Floodgate Trap Hole. Floodgate Trap Hole is actually very good now, especially because Kashtira is kind of dominating the format. Most Kashtira monster has the effect that if they control no monsters, they can special summon themselves out. And before they activate their effects, if you flip up Trap Hole, it actually sets the monster. So with their monster set, they can't activate its effects, and also they can't use the other Kashtiras in their hand to special out the other monsters. So definitely run Floodgate Trap Hole at 3, especially if you're going against Kashtira. Kind of torn between playing this card, but I still think it's actually very good, especially with this format now. Terrifying Trap Hole Nightmare. If your opponent special summoned a monster this turn, you can target 1 monster your opponent controls with 2000 or more attack, destroy it, and then if you have a normal trap in your graveyard, you can banish 1 monster from your opponent's graveyard. The reason why I find this to be very good is that most monsters that are able to special summon themselves out now have 2000 or more attack, so you have no problem activating this card. And also, if you're going against a lot of graveyard decks, banishing monsters from the graveyard is just very good. 3 copies of Gravedigger's Trap Hole. This is very good to see that's now printed in a common. So when your opponent activates a monster effect in their hand or graveyard, or when your opponent's banished monster effect is activated, you can negate the effect and then inflict 2000 damage to your opponent. It's good to get another good bit of damage. Traptrix monsters, they don't really have overly big attacks, so it's good to kind of like add damage to your opponent as frequently as possible. And now considering a lot of people are running hand traps, and then a lot of cards can activate in both the grave, hand and banish zone, this is just great to have in the back row to inflict damage to your opponent, and also it's a good negate. 2 copies of Phantom Knight's Shade Brigadine. So this just special summons itself as a level 4 monster, and if you control no traps in your graveyard, you can activate the turn it's set. Definitely going first card. Just because I love a little bit of nostalgia. 2 Bottomless Trap Hole. This is just an iconic card for everyone who played Yu-Gi-Oh! For decades now. When your opponent summons a monster with 1500 or more attack, destroy that monster, and then if you do, banish it. 2 copies is more than enough. I wouldn't overly rely on it because it can be a bit slow. Because it needs to send the card to the graveyard first, which can be a bit problematic depending on the matchup. Then rounding off the deck, we have 3 copies of Evenly Matched. Evenly Matched is just a great card overall. At the end of battle phase, if your opponent controls more cards than you do, you can make your opponent banish cards face down from the field so they control as many cards as you do. And also, if you control no cards, you can activate this card from your hand. This can be sided out depending on the situation, but overall I think it's very good to run 3 in the main. Going into the extra deck now, of course the extra deck should be way better than like what this build is. We just have the 3 structure decks to work with. So a lot of you guys, if you're trying to make this deck competitively viable, definitely use some other cards, but I'll just go through it real quick. We definitely want to run 3 copies of Pinkasula is very good. Not necessary to run at 3, maybe 2 if you're making this competitively viable, but because we don't really have as many cards we want to work with, just run it at 3. 3 copies of Rafflesia in this build, just because we're running with limited resources and she's kind of like the best in the bad situation, so running it at 3, no problem. Rounding off the XZ is just 2 copies of Almarus. Not ideal, but you know, we gotta work with whatever we have. So only 2 copies in this deck. If you're making this competitively viable, you might consider just not running her at all. Links now, most important, we got Traptrix Sera. Sera is just a crazy fucking card. It's a link 1, so of course it's very easy to get into. You can bring her out with 1 non-link Traptrix monster. This links to a monster on effect by trap effects, and you can only use each of the following effects of Sera once per turn. So if a normal trap card is activated, you can special summon one Traptrix monster from your deck with a different name than the cards you control. So for example, it can be very good if Sera gets to activate that effect. You can bring out Maramello, then you get a plus off of Maramello by adding a normal trap from your deck to your hand. Sera also has the effect that if your other Traptrix monster's effect is activated, you can set one whole normal trap directly from your deck. Main target you want to do off of this effect is probably Floodgate Trap Hole, but of course, as you know, we have plenty of other hole cards which can come in handy for this, so there's no shortage of targets you'll have for that. Sera is definitely important. I'd definitely be running it at 3, even if you had more resources than what we are left with here. Then we got 2 copies of Traptrix Artipus. One is fine, it's not overly bad, but you know, we're on limited resources here, so running at 2 is better than just having the 1. Then rounding it off, 2 copies of Calaria. Going into the side deck now, we have 3 copies of Retaliating Sea. Retaliating Sea it's a decent hand trap, not overly impressive, especially when you see the other sea brothers that it kind of gets a little power crept by. So when your opponent activates a spell card, that includes the effect that special summons a monster. Quick effect, you can special summon Retaliating Sea, and then any card sent to the graveyard is banished instead. Also, you get a plus if Retaliating Sea is destroyed and sent to the grave. Always the best way to tackle problematic monsters is just fucking kaiju them. Just draw the out, that's what they say. So running 4 kaijus in the side deck, definitely not an issue at all. If you want to go against big spammy decks, just rounding off the placeholder Raigeki, running 2 in the side deck is very good, especially because a lot of decks can build big boards with no protection, so Raigeki is definitely good to run. I was kind of hemming and hawing between main decking this or side decking it, but I think its place is in the side because it's kind of situational depending on the matchup. So when a monster that was special summoned this turn activates effects on your opponent's field, negate the effect, and if you do, destroy the card. So 3 in the side I think is definitely worth the run. Honestly, if you feel like main decking it, that's completely fine, I understand. So it's all down to the player. And then rounding off the side deck, we have 3 copies of Traptrix. Traptrix is very good. Since we run like trios of most of our traps, what we can do is, the effect of Traptrix is you can flip it up and then you can banish a normal trap that's in your deck to set a normal trap with the same name from your deck to the field, and then you can only activate 1 trap for the remainder of the turn that Traptrix was activated, which can be very good for getting in any of our traps at all, especially because we run 3 of almost every trap. Traptrix is very good, and it's good to search out pretty much any trap in the whole deck. So that about does it for the deck. Please tell me what you think, and who knows, maybe we might make a competitive version of this and showcase it on the channel. Unlikely, because neither myself or Sean are really big Traptrix fans, but if there's enough demand, maybe we might do it. Please let me know what you think. We actually did this similar enough a few months ago with the brand new Crystal Beast structure deck, so if you want to check that out, please do. More content on the way. Like and subscribe, and thanks for watching.